Good morning, everyone. Today we will study the after effects of the Britishers' rebellion, how this suppressed. After suppressing the rebellion, we have already studied that they made many promises to the Indian people, like the landlords and nawabs or the sepoys, etc. The British had regained the control over the country by the end of 1859, when the revolt started in 1857. By the 1859, they could be able to control the many of these revolts, but they could not carry on ruling the land with the same policies anymore. So whatever the policy or the revenue collection, etc., they followed earlier, they could not continue the same policies after the revolt, because they had to change some of their policies about the Indian land. Given below are some of the important changes that introduced by the Britishers after the revolt. When they suppressed the revolt, what changes the British made? The British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management in Indian affairs. Means after this revolt, the British Parliament passed a new act which was in 1858 that reduces the power of the English East India Company. As we know that English East India Company was a trading company and came to India for trade purpose only. But they captured the territories and started ruling, and they became the rulers of India. So here the English East India Company's power was reduced, and the British Crown, that means the British government or the British Queen, took the charge of Indian territories. So India became the part of British Empire, not the English East India Company. So what was the reason? They said that in order to make sure that more responsible management in the Indian affairs. So a member of the British cabinet was also appointed as a secretary of the state for India. One person, one officer was sent to the India for the whole in charge of the India, who was known as the secretary of the state of India. Okay, secretary of the state for India. He was a member of the British cabinet. He was sent to India and he was made responsible for all the matters related to the governance of India, how to govern the country and all matters he was dealing. Also he was then given a council to advise him called the India Council. There was a council also made to advise him. Proper advices or suggestions were given by this council, that was called the India Council. Another person, the Governor General of India, who was the Governor General of India, then he was given the title of Viceroy. Up to then, after this bill was passed, or the new act was passed in 1858, then after, the Governor General of India was known as Viceroy. That means he is the personal representative of the Crown, or the British Crown, or the British Queen. The representative of the British Queen was known as Viceroy thereafter. So these measures, British government accepted direct responsibility for ruling India. So earlier the trading company who was ruling here, the English East India Company, was transferred their power to the British government or the British Queen. All the ruling chiefs of the country was assured their territory would never be annexed in future. So as per these conditions, the new law was passed here, and all these landlords or the chiefs of the ruling chiefs and the local rulers or the princely states which were existed here, all these rulers were given the assured that their territory will not be annexed or seized by the British hereafter. They were allowed to pass on their kingdom to their heirs. We know that by the law of doctrine of lands, the Dalhousie initiated this policy that if the ruler does not have a natural heir, his kingdom will be passed on to the Britishers. This rule was changed and their kingdom, after the death of the king, their kingdom would be passed to their sons, and even including the adopted sons. If they don't have natural sons, including the adopted sons, these kingdom would be passed to. Another one, they were made acknowledge that the British Queen as the sovereign paramount. That means the British Queen is the superior of all the Indian territories or all Indian rulers or chiefs here. That thus the Indian rulers were told they had to hold their kingdoms as subordinate of the British crown. We know that Mughal rule when was here existed here. Other many of the rulers or smaller rulers or the governors all were the subordinate of the Mughal ruler. Like that, here also all the Indian territories were under the control of the English crown. That means they were all under the or the subordinates of the British Parliament or British government or British Queen. It was also decided that the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced. Number of Indian soldiers in the British army would be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. Another thing was, it was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, we know large number of Indian soldiers were recruited from Awadh in the British army. Now it will be extended from Bihar, Central India and even South India also. More soldiers would be recruited from among the Gurkhas, Sikhs and Pathans also will be included in the English army, not only the soldiers from the Awadh. Other thing was the land and property of the Muslims was confiscated on a large scale and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. Earlier the Muslims' lands were seized by the Britishers and also they were treated with suspicion, with doubts, and also the British believed that they were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. So the British felt that these people, the Muslims, were the main reason for the rebellion in India. So the British also decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of the people in India. They also respected what were the practices, religious practices we followed in India, different religious groups that were following in India. Policies also which were made to protect the landlords and zemindars and give them security of rights over their lands also. Another policies they made to protect the landlords and zemindars so that they will not be revolting against it. Thus a new phase of history began after 1857 when the revolt completed. Revolt was suppressed, the new law was initiated or introduced here, and many of the policies of the earlier policies of the Britishers changed here, and a new era begins of the new rule of the Britishers starts here. Now British government started ruling the country or Indian territory directly. So in the next class we will study about we will read about the case study or the Khurda uprising, how the people in Khurda revolted.